Hello. I'm not exactly sure what this is going to be, but I wanted to record something. I have a bit of a open, candid moment. And the reason is because today I've been feeling really low energy, really off, deep sadness, and perhaps it's, when emotions pile up and then there's moments when they just come out to the surface, right? There's nothing necessarily that triggered how I'm feeling right now and what I'm experiencing right now. And I think that's part of the reason why I wanted to capture it and share something about it, because it's part of the journey. It's part of a lot of what happens when we're stretching ourselves and also faced with things in our lives that are really challenging, all while continuing to look towards points of creation and opening ourselves up and dwelling in possibility rather than dwelling in the pain. And trust me, there have been many moments in the past few months and couple of years when I have felt nothing but just dwelling in pain for a while. So the contrast here, and the reason why I also wanted to talk it over and just be very open and vulnerable about it, is because at the same time that I'm holding this energy, I'm also holding this energy of what's possible, what's opening up, what's happening, what I'm feeling energetically, what I see and can interpret through astrology and through messages that I just intuit, what I want to help others move forward with. Like I'm starting this free video series called Take a Leap on next Sunday for the new moon in Virgo, because I really truly believe wholeheartedly that this is a wonderful time to take some leap that stretches your consciousness and your idea of what you're capable of, because this is a matter of like practicing. It's like taking leaps is an art form, and so when you stretch your consciousness around what you believe is possible, it's actually an alchemical growth moment for you. That's an alchemical reaction of you literally expand the horizons and the interpretation of what you've been conditioned to think is possible for you, what you've thought up until this point. And because we've gone through so many big shifts and transformations over the past few months with a lot of this planetary action and just life, but specifically touching on the whole like planetary things that have been moving, we are now, it's like sprouting a fresh pair of wings. It really is this whole chrysalis into butterfly moment, and we are learning how to fly and learning how to walk again with new perspectives, because there's been a lot of transformation both in the seen and the unseen realms, a lot of also unknown deep inside transformation. And as I sit here with this feeling of and I've become very comfortable with sitting with my feelings and letting them be, being aware of what's moving through, looking at it with tenderness and curiosity, more so than I may have before, where I would have been like questioning, like, oh, why am I feeling like this? And wasn't I doing okay? And then all of a sudden, I understand the nature of how cyclical our feelings are, whether it's over the year, over the month, over a series of months, or even the day. And usually in the mornings on a day like today, I would have expected, I got out of bed and it felt pretty okay. Did the usual morning routine things. I actually went to the dentist also, just got back from the dentist. I love my dentist, by the way, so definitely he did not have anything to do with my mood. I love my dentist. But when I was sitting in the dentist chair, I had this like whole melancholy moment, and there's a lot I'm processing and moving through, and But I was like, wow, I wouldn't have expected that to feel like that today. I thought it was going to be a day of like, okay. And usually in the morning and early afternoon, I feel a sense of, I'm excited about making things happen. I'm excited about, creating things or writing things or just, reading as I weave in my day of caring for my husband, caring for my son, and just, my life as a mom and wife and caregiver. And that wasn't the case. And I was like, what happened? What happened? Because it felt so deep that it was like something. And the conclusions or the hypothesis that I come up with is that there is something in the air, so to speak, for me. There is something about today that feels like I'm in deep integration. And I still in that space want to look at, well, what is it that my system needs to feel safer, to feel at ease, right? What can I give myself? What can I create? What support can I ask for? All that. Again, within the scope of the bigger picture of all the other things that I'm moving throughout the day. It's like this big symphony. My son told me once that I was like an octopus with superpowers. And I don't know where he came up with that, but it's pretty much on point. I do feel like an octopus with superpowers sometimes because of all the things that, I'm able to concoct and handle. And because I took a series of months off pretty much completely from having any one-on-one clients, from hosting any sessions, any workshops, anything of that nature, I took a long time off. And now I've been in the past month beginning to open up my schedule again and beginning to email again and create videos and basically like, okay, let the light out again to serve. And that will also come with, and I share this for any of you out there that are in the same wavelength, that also comes with a sense of when we stretch to create new things, then it's like, we can feel this, it's almost like a hangover of doing something new. It could be exciting, and then it could be like, oh, what now? What next? And this is where we can also look at the other energies or archetypes to help us keep a thread of momentum moving forward with grace and ease and a lot of love, but also not let ourselves out of our game. Whatever game we decide is our own game. I'm not talking about playing anybody else's game. It's time we play our game, our rules. Based on your game, what you desire, how do you not let yourself down? How do you still find the ways to show up that feel good for you, that lift you up, and in this like crazy hustle culture we've been kind of force fed into, and so many, messages out there of like, make it happen and do this and rah, 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 rah. And it's like, holy, it doesn't feel very sustainable because it doesn't honor the cycles of some days we will just feel like this. And, for example, today's Monday, I have my community Rise of the Creatrix, which is a beautiful space that I've reopened up. And every Monday I set my goal to record a couple of videos. One is a weekly astrology highlights video, and also, just whatever information wants to come through, I share there. And then another one is a tarot card exploration where we're going through the tarot card by card to share about the card and, what it means and how we can work with it. And so those are two videos that I have intended to create today. And as I'm sitting in the dentist, I was like, I really don't want to do the videos. But then here's where, with a lot of grace and understanding, I also look at, what though? How can I show up for those videos? Be in completion of them. Stay in momentum with them. Because I know today it is possible for me to do them. And do it from a place that's authentic. I don't have to pretend anything. Let's be authentic, but let's stay in my game. Let's stay in my like because there is such beauty. I always say momentum is magic. The moment by moment, that is what gets us through and past that first leap and spark of the idea. You know, how many times have we come up with something and then it's like you just let it fizzle? I've been there so many times, and I've recommitted myself to creating sustainable practices and processes and things that work for me. And it's taken trial and error, and it's taken a lot of like here and there, but processes that feel sustainable for me, for my lifestyle, for the things that I value, that can keep me in the game of creation. For me, I want to be a force, and I want to be a light of creation in this world. So when I look at it that way, I go, okay. It's gone from do the thing to build the business to do the thing and let's build a business around it. And again, my situation is different from, might be different from anybody else's, certainly, because we're all unique. And my situation is very specific because of my husband, what he was diagnosed with. So it looks different than it does for a lot of other people. So I get to look at that from a different perspective. But I also say that because your situation is different as well, and you get to find your own process and rhythm and flow. And we get to honor the moments when we feel this way, when we feel these dips. It's part of it. Can we love ourselves enough through it? This is part of honoring our sense of self-worth, which is a very Venusian, very Taurus theme that we've been getting kind of drilled into us over the past few months. Is, what do you value? And because I've shifted from doing things because I kind of have to doing things that I'm aligned with, and I make a choice, even the things that it might seem, oh, I have to do that. I'm like, I see it as a choice. It's a choice. It is a privilege. It's a privilege to take care of my husband. It is a privilege to be a mom to my 5-year-old. It's a privilege to spend time with people that I care about, even if sometimes we ruffle our feathers. And, it's a privilege to be able to use my voice. It's a privilege that we've been building up over time to be able to use our voices in this way. And a lot of people on earth right now can't use their voices in this way. And so we can see it as a choice, and go from trying to fake it till you make it, which I even used to believe in that, fake it till you make it, to just make it the way you are. Make it the way you are. But notice where you might be kind of letting yourself out of your own, honoring your own sense of what you want to create. I want to create a community space that feels like I'm in service and is thriving and is growing and has a constant stream of creative energy infused into it. When I speak about Rise of the Creatrix energy and Creatrix consciousness is about turning our light into form. So that is I want to keep myself inspired to turn my light into form, no matter what that might look like. And I sit here making this video, and I'm like, this is the least exciting day for me in this moment to make a video, if that makes sense. I think it does. So all this to say, let's allow ourselves to ebb and flow, but also to go, to keep that flow going, and notice how that shows up for you, where you might need support in those spaces, what fuels your soul, what nourishes your inspiration. Let's not compare ourselves. Comparison really is just the most detrimental, joy killer and momentum killer. I have not been on social media for many months, and I do not miss it because it is like a breeding ground for toxicity, comparison. There's other beautiful things about social media as well, but overall, it's just a space where you kind of see what everybody's up to in their best light, and not really what life is like. I'm overgeneralizing, but you know what I mean. So, yeah. I hope this supported somebody. And if it did, I'd love to hear. Deep breaths, my friends. Deep breaths, and onward we go. Because life really is truly beautiful. And so are you. And your light, and your wisdom, and your truth, and your joy, and your quirks. And so are mine. And whatever it is, wherever you are desiring to turn your own light into form, this is actually a really wonderful time to practice the art of leaping, the art of stretching yourself, the art of recalibrating your sense of what you believe you are capable of. Because there are bigger things to come into next year, where imagine if you're like start to stretch those leaping muscles now, then when the big, more juicy leap may come, let's say, it's coming. I don't know when it's coming for you. I don't know when it's coming for me, but I know that many of us are going to have that big moment where we're just going to be like, oh, wow. Then it's like a muscle you've already stretched. You've expanded your plate. You're going to be like, whoa, if I did that, then I can definitely stretch into this. This is why I'm so passionate about Take a Leap in this moment with this Virgo new moon that is showing us how to align with like a day-to-day process of how to live, how to create, how to turn light into form. Light is Uranus and form is Saturn, and they've been dancing in the sky, breaking lots of ish up and like recalibrating all of us. So where do you get to step next? Right? So, all my love and stardust always. And I'll see you next time. Mwah. Adios.